A movie clip symbol is the most powerful symbol type in Flash Professional. In this lesson, we examine the construction and use of this symbol. So here I have basically a blank document, and I'm going to draw out an asset here using the pen tool. So let's go in and just make this black for our path. And I'm going to make a little flame. It's pretty simple to make flames, so here we go. Alright, so I just need to go in here and modify my handles a little bit to make this a bit smoother. And I'm doing that with the sub-selection tool. And almost there. Okay, that's a pretty good flame. So what I'm going to need to do to make this look more like a flame, of course, is to use the paint bucket tool and fill it. I'm now going to remove the stroke, go to my color palette, and make some adjustments on this gradient type. I'm going to want to use a radial gradient, and I'm going to create a gradient that represents a flame. So let's start with blue, and that will go off to this bright yellow, which will then expand into more of an orange color. And then finish off as red. Okay, I'll save this to my swatches and collapse that panel. So right now it doesn't look exactly like a flame. It's kind of strange that the blue part's up here. It should be down here, but that can easily be adjusted using the gradient transform tool. So I can position that at the bottom. I can rotate, expand, and adjust this until it's exactly what I need. Okay, that looks a lot more like a flame to me, so now that I have my flame assets, it's still just a basic shape. I'm going to need to create a symbol out of this. So let's go to Modify, Convert to Symbol, and I'll call this Flame, and I'll go in and create a movie clip symbol out of it. I'm also going to want to choose the registration point, which I'll set at the bottom in this case, so it'll appear right here. I also have a number of options I can do pertaining to ActionScript through this advanced panel, but for what we're doing right now, we don't want to actually do anything with that, so we're going to keep that collapsed. Hit OK. So now that I've created this as a symbol, we actually have the symbol instance on the stage, and in the library we have our little flame right here. So let's actually have a look at the different properties of a movie clip symbol. We have things we can adjust such as position and size. We have 3D position and view. So this is something that's a bit unique to the movie clip symbol, is that we have all of these 3D adjustments that we can make to the symbol. And we could also use the 3D rotation and translation tools when it comes to a symbol like this as well. We also have color effects, so we can do things like make the flame brighter or darker and so forth. We can change the alpha transparency, the tint, or a number of other things. I'm going to just choose none here. We can toggle the display of the object on or off, choose a blending mode, choose how it's rendered. So is it just rendered as a movie clip symbol, or is it actually cached as a bitmap or exported as a bitmap? And then we have filters here. So for a flame, it may make sense to actually have a bit of a glow applied to this, right? And of course, going into my library, I'm able to pull out numerous flames here. So when I mentioned that movie clip symbols are the most powerful symbol type in Flash, what I mean by that is that while graphic symbols and button symbols each have their own timelines, button symbols are actually only 4 frames in length, one representing each button state. And graphic symbols have their own timeline, although that timeline is tied directly to the main timeline. They're inseparable. Movie clip symbols, however, have their own independent timeline. So they're very useful for creating things like nested animations that are independent of whatever else is going on in your movie. Aside from that, you can see through the properties here that movie clip symbols actually have the most adjustments you can make, the most properties that you can change. One thing that's a little bad about movie clip symbols, if there was anything to see as a drawback, would be that movie clip symbols are the most powerful, but also the heaviest in weight. So it usually isn't that big of a problem, but just be careful when you're using them, especially on mobile. And just like any of the other objects and instances we've seen, we can go in and make adjustments onto each one of these flames, totally independent of the actual symbol instance itself. So I can actually go in here using something like the transform tool and change a lot to do with this particular flame. And the symbol itself is exactly as it was. When I pull out new instances of that symbol, they are unaltered from the original. So this lesson has been an example of how to create and use movie clip symbols within Flash Professional.